Hi, and thanks for listening to this quick video on the social CRM service provided by 6minus5.com. How we're able to manage multiple touch points for your brand and for your service to ensure that the people that you're connecting with are continually reminded of you and your service. This service comes from the logic of touches. Anybody who's in sales understands that the first time you meet somebody, it's very unlikely that you're going to be closing a deal right away, unless you just happen to be at the right place at the right time. In a numbers game, you're always going to get, if you make 100 phone calls, you'll always get one person that you connect with who's just surprised that you phoned and they were just ready for your business, but you can't build a business off of that. Sales takes time, and a proper salesperson understands that follow-up is key, and you want to manage the follow-up. There's a number of factors to consider in this, is that how do you follow up with the person, how often do you follow up with the person, and where are you following up with them? You can be passive in this process, or you can be proactive. Our service is incredibly proactive in ensuring that your brand is always staying in touch of you people that you're connecting with. So I'll just go through a couple of quick things to point out here. So social CRM, the way that we run it, is very similar to retargeting of websites. I'm sure this graphic here explains a process that we're all used to. You go to a website, you leave the website, you go to a different website, YouTube or anywhere else, and you'll see that same ad of the site you were just on showing up on this different website. This is called retargeting, and the value of this is that it makes the continual brand awareness of this person, or to this person. So what you're doing is that they've taken the time to come to your site, they've expressed some interest in your service, your product, and so if they leave the site, you're hoping to God that they remember who you are and that they come back. Retargeting really helps take advantage of how people remember things, just like cramming for an exam or a course, or how we remember names or how we remember language. Once you remember something, the more frequently you're exposed to it right away, and then you can drab that down over time. People will remember the language, the technique, the brand, whatever it is. So by retargeting right away and getting your brand in front of these people right away, continually, and then you can drag that out over time, you're going to ensure that your brand is remembered by these people. The thing with social media is it's impossible to do advertisements this way, but it's really impossible in the mechanics of it to follow up with people in a way like this for two reasons. Number one is that when you connect with a target consumer, how do you find their Twitter account? So you may connect with a demographic, and unless they've told you their specific Twitter account or their Pinterest account or their Instagram account, which most people have different social media accounts, but they may not advertise on their accounts that they are the director of manufacturing for XYZ retail store, or they are the HR manager of this oil and energy company. So if they're not announcing that on Twitter or Pinterest, how do you know to find these people? And without doing a whole lot of research to try to track them down and very manual process, we have ways of making this a lot easier. So the value, first of all, of retargeting is very, very high. And that's why this new form of advertising on websites has taken off completely. We've all run into this. So let's look at the logic of touches here. This article here goes out to explain that only 2% of sales occur after a first meeting. I can attest to that. And then most salespeople who either don't understand sales or who are just not good salespeople will typically give up right after that point there. They may send up a follow-up email or a follow-up phone call to see if the person's ready. And if the person says no, or they don't provide any open doors to proceed, then they typically will give up because either A, they don't want to bother the person, or B, if they continue to follow up with the person, it may turn the prospect off. And this is a fear of salespeople. So to avoid turning a prospect off, and to ensure that you're always staying in front of them, how do you do that without sending emails and phone calls that may go unanswered for a while? Well, I know from personal experience, and there's lots of statistics around this, that you just want to stay in front of people. And rather than sending out emails and phone calls that go unanswered and people aren't playing with, don't give up after the first no's. Here's a nice little statistics put together by this article here, that 44% of salespeople give up after one no, 22% give up after two no, etc., etc., etc. So if you can continue to stay in front of somebody for a longer period of time, your likelihood of closing a deal is far higher. But the problem is it takes time to manage that, and it's tough to continue to receive these no's. So let's avoid all of the no's altogether, and let's instead focus on how do we stay in front of somebody without having to get to the yes or no stage? One of the problems with sales is that if you give somebody a yes or no answer or question and they come back with a no, it is tough to overcome that, right? I mean, of course, there's ways and tactics to do that, but we want to avoid all of them. We want to instead just be around the person, using the principles of social CRM here. We want to make sure that we're staying in front of people at all times and avoiding the whole yes or no question, just making sure that our brand is staying in front of them. So that's where our 6minus5 service comes in. So one of the things that we're able to do is that once we connect with a new target demographic for you or of your existing contacts, we have software that pings email addresses of personal accounts, of personal email addresses that you may have of your clients against a lot of other social media accounts, right? So your Twitter, your Instagram, your Pinterest, etc. The reason that's valuable is because the person who runs a company may or may not be the person who's actually managing the company's social media accounts. So if you're following up and trying to do touch points with a company from your company, you may be talking from your marketing person to their marketing person, or your receptionist to their receptionist. It's highly, highly unlikely that the owner of the company, if that's your prospect, is managing the Twitter account of the company, or the HR manager is managing the Pinterest account of the company. But they may have those social media accounts. So now the question goes to, how do we find them? So we've got different software that we use to track this kind of information down. So we'll just use a simple example here of how we can actually do this. So let's pull up an example here of how this works. Okay, so this person here, with this email address that we have here, that we were able to receive, we have now been able to get their client's his website. This is his company website. We've also been able to get his Facebook, his personal Twitter, his personal Pinterest, his personal blog, his About Me, his Gravatar, his Tumblr, his personal Twitter, etc. Now, if we go look at why this is valuable, if this prospect came to us and we had entered their company information into a CRM system and then wanted to follow up with this person via this, well, let's look at how this actually looks. They have their social media accounts on the bottom here, and here we've got the company's Twitter account, and we've got the company's LinkedIn account, and we've got the company's Google Plus account, but we're dealing with the company. So unless this is an owner-operator type of situation, the likelihood of any communication that we do on behalf of our client to this social account here, it's very unlikely that we're going to be communicating with the owner or whoever our target demographic is. If you're dealing with a company that has 15, 20 staff, 40 staff, I mean, you're dealing with one person. You're not necessarily dealing with your target prospect who you need to sell your B2B service to. So the value of this really comes in the fact that now instead of going through the company accounts, now we can go directly to the person's Twitter account, to the person's Pinterest account, to the person's Tumblr account, as an example. So now when we're going to go on Twitter and represent our client on Twitter, now we're talking directly to the person. So as you can see here, this is of extreme value. So now the time that we're taking is just simply in touching these people here, but we're touching the direct demographic. So the first part of our system is in finding these people on other social media accounts. Once we find them, we enter them into our CRM system. We use Google Contacts as sort of a placeholder, as sort of like the main storage bin, if you will, that this works with a number of different programs, but we base everything off Google. So we'll start from here, and then we'll enter all that information into a CRM program, and now we can do the magic of touching. So the CRM program will program it to prompt us to get in touch with this person every periodic, with frequency over a certain period. So every week we're going to be touching this person. So we'll do a follow. That counts as a touch because he's going to see that we followed this person. He's going to get an email notification that we followed them. Then next week we'll go and retweet this person here. And we retweet it, and that counts as a second touch there. So what we do is over time, once this person connects with us, or if it's an existing connection, we're then going to go and with every certain period that we programmed our CRM program to remind us, it's going to prompt us to touch this person. And now we're really taking advantage of the magic of touch points. So if after the first connection a deal is obtained, fantastic. But statistically, it's not going to happen. But he does fit a certain demographic. And we want to make sure that our brand is always staying in front of him so that we can make sure when it's time for him to make a decision 6 to 12 months out that he's going to be thinking of 1 or 2 people, and at least our client has a fighting chance to be one of those 2 people. So we'll touch him on his personal Twitter, we'll touch him on his other various different social media accounts, and this is how we're able to always stay in front of these people without being aggressive and sending these emails and these phone calls that annoy people and making it awkward with yes or no situations where, are you ready to do a deal? If he's not ready yet, and the next time you call him, he knows why you're calling, he knows why you're sending an email. Versus this strategy is incredibly beneficial because he's just going to be seeing your brand all over the place, and it's not aggressive. He has a social media account. You're allowed to be social on social media. So unlike other platforms, when you're dealing with social media, people are happy that they got a new follower. People are happy that they're getting an engagement. If you talk to any social media manager, the big win for them is when somebody engages with them. That's the big win. They're pushing all the time. They're pushing content. They're trying to start conversations because they want people to talk back to them. And so if you flip it around, we're now talking to this person. These people appreciate that. And so you don't even have to do any major communication. Just touches. We favorite a tweet, we retweet it, we'll throw a quick comment out, we'll share something, we'll repin something, we'll share a board, all of the jargon that people use, or all of the jargon that's applicable to all the social media accounts. But the point is that this person cannot avoid our client now, because we're going to be constantly around them, and every week or every 2 weeks or every month we're going to be touching this person in different areas. So the value of touches is incredibly important in any kind of sales process, and we've just systemized this so that we are able to find your direct connections, social media accounts, if they're out there. This isn't 100% accuracy, but if they're out there, we can certainly find them. And secondly, we manage the process in which we are touching these people, so that once you've made a connection, or if you've already had a connection, you just want to stay in front of these people that fit your target demographic, why waste time posting content on your own social media account, hoping that this guy's going to come find you and interact with you? It's never going to happen, right? I mean, the chances of the HR manufacturer or the HR director of some company to search out your corporate business account to try to communicate with you it's never going to happen. So instead, we'll go the other way. We'll be proactive. We'll find them and we'll just touch them. You're not forcing any conversations. We're just being around them, and we're making sure that this person's always thinking about this brand. So we have the 2 services. The one is we find the people on various different social media accounts. And secondly, we tie that into a CRM system that prompts us in certain periods of time to get in touch with them. And the third is that we actually execute the touches on behalf of the clients. You can do this strategy yourself. There's nothing really rocket science or magical about what we're doing. But when you're dealing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10,000 prospects or leads or clients, I'm sure you can appreciate how time-consuming and how cumbersome that can actually be. And that's where our service comes in. We've mastered the art of making this pretty streamlined. So clients use us because they want to stay in touch with their prospects in a non-aggressive way. Just kind of hover around them. It's just like showing up at a networking event, and you just your prospect happens to see you at a restaurant, at a networking event, at the movies. It's really driving home that point of who you are. And secondly, the other great value of this is that nobody's doing this. I mean, this is incredibly complex and very, very time-consuming. We've just come up with ways to make this as assembly line approach as possible, so that we can do this on behalf of our clients. So you're going to really stand out. If you're up against 4 other potential competitors for this person's business, this is a nice tool to have in your back pocket, that just through sheer brand awareness, forget your service and product, through sheer brand awareness, you're going to be able to slip into the psyche of your prospects, and you'll increase the likelihood of them thinking more positively about you. And there's nothing that you're doing here that they won't like. They'll all appreciate the engagement and the sharing of their information. So that's another excellent tool that 6minus5.com brings you in managing not only the establishment of new connections, driving home the brand awareness to prospects, but also managing the whole process for you as effectively your whole outsourced sales team. Thanks for watching.